What's up, Hex man? How you doing, my friend? Got some very interesting stuff to talk about today. I don't know if it's a good time. We can hear you and see you. Man, I appreciate that. I appreciate you letting me know about that. You know I've been having some difficulties, so um got some very interesting stuff to share today. I don't know if Saturday afternoon is a great time to be doing a live stream, but that's when I was doing the calculations. So, hey, Brian Kelly, thank you for the mic update. Walter Aparicio, thank you for the feedback on the audio and video. I really appreciate that. I don't know if Saturday afternoon is a good time. Yeah, French water. I'll tell you what, I like this Evian stuff. You know, for the longest time, I would not buy this water because if you take it and you reverse it backwards, it spells naive. And I thought, well, they're probably doing that just to make fun of people that buy it because you've got to be really naive to buy water that's that expensive. Um, but I like it. I think it tastes a lot better than Fiji water, to be honest. The world is on quarantine, man. Nothing else to do but stake hex. I don't know. There's a lot of stuff I can be doing outside right now. There's a there's an entire farm I could be out there tinkering around with. It's a lot of fun too. That's actually part of why I'm doing this stream now instead of later, is because I want to go outside and work on the farm for a while, get some exercise in, destroy some stumps, kill some weeds. You were in Los Angeles, man. I have been to Los Angeles. That is an interesting place. Very interesting place. I'm just gonna wait for just a minute to see if anybody else wants to come hang out with us while we go over. So what? Long story short, and I'll probably repeat this in a minute, but I've been studying Uniswap all morning, and RG3, he wanted me to justify my 33-cent prediction with a measurement of how much money would have to be injected into Uniswap in order to create that outcome. And when he asked me that question, you know, I had no idea. I didn't know how much. I didn't know how much of an injection it would actually take to boost the price to 33 cents. Well, I've done the math, and it's very interesting to say the least. It's so interesting that I'm making a stream at 1 o'clock. I don't know. I guess since this is a worldwide stream, the Europeans might not mind this time at all, because you know I don't see a whole lot of hex streams that come on early in the day like this, so this might actually be better for the European folks. Hey Archie S, good to see you. Checking my Twitter right now. Summer solstice is today. Tomorrow there will be an annular lunar eclipse. That's from Hexologist. Very interesting. Very interesting. We're just gonna sit in here for just a second while if anybody wants to come in, and because I'm hoping in the best case, well, not best case, but I'm hoping that I can run through this math with y'all, and maybe y'all can find something I'm doing wrong, or maybe y'all can ask questions, because I mean, y'all spur a lot of thought for me personally. Like, I get a lot out of just streaming with y'all because y'all end up finding things that I've done wrong, or something. Oh, by the way, it is super hot here, so I'm not buttoning up my shirt. I was not even going to wear a shirt at all at first, but then I was like, well, I'll make an attempt. But it's probably like 90, 95 degrees, 50 or 60% humidity. It's super hot. Uh, Archie S is from the UK. Your timing is perfect for Europeans. I tell you what, I look out for my Europeans, man. You know, I'm my family. My grandfather is very, very European. So I'll be looking out for y'all, 8 p.m. in France. Yo, it's GT Live. Yeah, did y'all? Yeah, the other shows are 1 a.m. to 3 a.m. for Europeans. That's terrible. That's terrible. It's so late. Like, I was up last night on the Discourse Syndicate, and I was up till midnight, and I was like, man, this is terrible. I hate staying up that late. Like, I like to get up at 6 o'clock in the morning and go to bed at like 8 or 9 o'clock at night. I don't like this running through midnight stuff. Best regards from Germany. That's awesome, man. That's very cool. Well, we're 8 minutes in. I'm not going to drag this out anymore. Let's go ahead and jump in. Diego Duarte, what's up, my friend? Want to travel to South America? I would want to travel to South America too, except the crime is so terrible. I think like El Salvador, I guess that's technically South America. No, that's maybe Central America, but the crime down there is horrible. And I don't know if it's legal to carry guns down there. It's like, man, I'd be worried about getting robbed. Everybody's talking about wanting to, leave the United States for better taxes and stuff like that. And there's a lot of countries that you can do that in. But man, um, I kind of like America, even if the taxes are terrible. I kind of like being able to, own whatever guns I want, carry them anywhere I want. Not anywhere, but you can't take it to the post office, but carry a gun everywhere with you. I don't even in my state. I don't even have to have. I do not have to have a license in the state that I'm in. You don't have to have a gun license. You don't have to have a carry permit. All you have to do is if you're 21 years old and you have working limbs, then you can carry a gun without any paperwork whatsoever, which I like. I like that. That's I love this state for that reason. I hope it stays that way. A lot of people that don't like that, but I mean, technically, these guns in the back, I can just take them right now, fully load them, and just go walk to the store. Just walk around the street. It's perfectly legal. It's a little strange. It's kind of strange. I don't think it's a good idea, but we can do it. El Salvador is legal to carry. Yeah, I hope so. The crime rate there is like astounding. Absolutely astounding. It's like worse than Rwanda. And I think Rwanda has like constant genocides and stuff. El Salvador is rough. 50% half Scandinavian, half Senegalese. That sounds like Seal. You know that singer, Seal? He got with some European supermodel, and you must be their kid. I think Seal was from Senegal. El Salvador, okay. Yeah, man. Following those 1 a.m. streams in Europe, that's got to be rough. Okay. I like Asia. Yeah, Singapore. Singapore and Hong Kong. If you get caught, I think it's in Singapore. If you carry out a violent crime with a firearm, it's like instant death penalty. There's no crime there. In Portugal, no one uses guns, so I don't know the feeling. Aren't you afraid if need to use it? You know, are you from Portugal, Diego? I didn't know that. I thought you were Spanish for some reason. Um, yeah. I mean, a lot of people carry guns here. Um, my biggest concern, and I actually am afraid to use it, not for the outright use of it, but I'm scared. So it's like this black gun that I have behind me. If I were to take that gun and I had, heaven forbid, had to shoot someone, the bullets that are in there, um, have those bullets have steel rods inside of the lead projectile. So they're semi armor piercing rounds. So if someone were to be shot with that thing, the bullet is going to go through them out the other side, and if there's somebody behind them, it's going to take them out too. So um, the chance of collateral damage when it comes to shooting firearms is by far the most concerning thing to me, because if you have a target, someone that's threatening to take someone's life, and there's a child or a woman or even a man behind that person, and you shoot that person and the bullet travels through them and hits the person behind them, well, you just really screwed up bad. And that's, to me, that is the scary part of guns. And I'm always thinking of like, maybe is there another way? You know, tasers, mace. You know, I would rather use mace over a gun any day of the week. I actually never want to use a gun on a person. Never. If I never had to fire at a person in my entire life, that would be ideal. That would be ideal for sure. Rather use mace or something. You don't want to be killing people. Not a good idea. Singapore is heavy. Okay, we're about to get started. Diego, this time is awesome for Swedes. Okay. All right, guys. So let's get started. Today is June 20th, 2020. The question is, and the question that I've been asked, so I've got this 33-cent prediction. And I just got picked up by this. Mick says that's why people use hollow points. Yeah, hollow points not going to save you when you're firing a 5.56 by 45 NATO round that's moving at 3,200 feet per second. Yeah, hollow point is going to fragment, but it's still going to come out the other side. It's not going to lodge in a target. So how much money would it actually take to pump to 33 cents? I'm curious if y'all have any guesses. Like write your guesses down. I want to see what the guesses are because I've actually calculated this and I know what the precise answer is. But I'm curious if y'all have any guesses on how much money of an injection it takes to pump HEX to 33 cents. Do y'all have any ideas? I'm just curious what the $1.2 billion injection from Walter. It's interesting. You know, that sounds reasonable. So let's think about the market cap of HEX. So at 33 cents, the market cap of HEX at today's number of coins. So today there are 270 billion HEX. So in order to pump, so if HEX were to pump to 33 cents, that would be an $89 million market cap. Okay, so the current market cap of Bitcoin is 170 billion, and the current market cap of Ethereum is 25 billion. So to pump it to an $89 billion market cap would put it, you know, about halfway between the current Bitcoin and Ethereum market cap. This 270 billion figure that I'm given, I'm not sure if that's including stakes or not including stakes. This is just the number that hex.win shows very prominently. And Steph, the guy that wrote hex.win, I'm just going to trust the number that he gives and trust that he chose the best one to give us. He's a super smart guy, so I'm gonna trust him on that. So Walter, 1.2 billion injection needed to boost HEX to 33 cents. Hextashi, 10 billion injection. Brian Kelly, 800 million injection. Vince Chang, my man, 3.3 billion dollar injection to boost the price of HEX to $89 billion market cap. Charlie says, okay, Hexman says 10 billion. Okay, so we've got a lot of estimates there. Do y'all want me to walk y'all through step? Because this is what happened this morning. I read the Uniswap white paper, and I walked through the white paper, figuring out how to do the math and all this kind of stuff. Do y'all care about the math? Do y'all want to know how the math was actually done, or would y'all rather just like talk about the outcomes of the math? So I'm curious if y'all care about the math at all, or if y'all would rather just understand the outcome, because you may not be interested in the math. Vince Chang says yes, math. PLZ. Hello, Tread Rap. Diego is interested in the math. Richard says $4 million would double the price, so Diego believes that 440 million is required to push the price to 33 cents. Okay, it looks like everybody cares about the math. I would say 90% of the people care about the math, so we're gonna cover the math. All right. So I'm gonna see what this does. I'm gonna see. Okay, this is gonna be kind of like a classroom setting, I guess. We're gonna go kind of slow. This isn't gonna be super fast, but it's gonna be super interesting. I promise you that. It will be super interesting. So the current size of the ETH pool, and we're only gonna be covering Uniswap version 1, is 21,600 coins. I'm gonna see if I can see this in my little. I don't think this may not work well. I may not be able to show stuff like this to y'all. I don't know if any of this is readable, but if it is, y'all can follow along. All right, so the current ETH pool is 21,600 coins. The current HEX liquidity pool is going to be, and I'm not going to do this like with a razor sharp pinpoint accuracy. I'm going to ignore trading fees. I don't care. I'm going to ignore decimals and trailing numbers. I'm not trying to go pinpoint accuracy. I'm trying to get ballpark numbers, within 10%. Okay, so the hex pool size is 1.538 billion. So 1,538. Oh. All right. So we got hex pool 1.538 billion. Let me see some of these comments before we go forward. Thank you, Hex Naog, for the great work suggestion. Uniswap Magic. There we go. Hey GT. Do a dive into coins locked to unlocked effect. Yeah, that's a good point. In other words, okay. So all right, so we've got two variables here. We've got ETH pool and we've got hex pool. All right, y'all are gonna love this. The third variable that we're gonna have, we're going to name the invariant. And the invariant is calculated by multiplying the size of the ETH pool by the size of the hex pool. Y'all should do this math. You're gonna love it. 21,600 times 1,538,000,000. So the invariant comes out, and I'm just gonna slightly round to a clean 33 trillion. Imagine that. 33 trillion for the Uniswap invariant. So is any of this readable at all? Any of this stuff that I'm showing up, this may not be readable at all. And even if it is readable, it may not be super useful. I'm just curious if this is readable. It may not be readable at all. So we've calculated, and I'm just kind of going through the calculation steps to figure out how to come to the amount of money that it would cost. Semi-readable, yeah, I probably would have to double the font size, which I can do. I'm gonna do that. Because I want y'all seem interested in the math. Because y'all may want to run your own simulations. Hex pool. Okay. All right. So our third variable, the invariant, equals 33 trillion. This may be somewhat more readable, hopefully, and you can freeze this frame later if you want to see what in the heck I was doing. All right, so now we're going to create a new variable called new ETH pool. Let me look back over my math here. Okay, so new ETH pool is going to be the size of the current ETH pool plus the amount of coins being injected. So it's going to be 21,600. And for this example, I'm just going to pick a number, 220,000 ETH, just to pick a number. So that's going to leave us with we'll just pick 220,000 ETH. So that will bring us to, I'm just actually going to pick 200,000 ETH. Scratch that. Now I'll do 220. Fuck it. 220. So that's going to be 241,600. So our new ETH pool size, we're going to assume a 220,000 liquidity injection of Ethereum, and we're going to calculate how much of a boost in price does 220,000 ETH. So we're going to simulate. So 220,000 ETH is going to be about 50 million US dollars with a current ETH price of $227 per ETH. So we're going to simulate a 220,000 injection. $50 million is what we're going to simulate. Okay, so we've got our new ETH pool size, and now we're going to calculate our new HEX pool size. New HEX pool. And the equation for calculating the new HEX pool is going to be our invariant divided by our new ETH pool size. So that's going to be 33 trillion. What a fun number. Divided by 241,600 ETH. That's our new ETH pool size. So this next variable is going to be new HEX pool. We're going to plug in our invariant divided by the new Ethereum pool size. That's going to be 33 trillion divided by 241,600. All right, I'm going to have to bring up my Wolfram Alpha in another window because I don't feel like doing that math. Wolfram Alpha, I've been using Wolfram Alpha since probably 2008, 2009, back when I was learning calculus. Calculus 1, Calculus 2, Calculus 3, linear algebra, advanced probability. I did a lot of math. 33,000, million, billion, trillion, divided by 241,600. And it's funny because you actually have to divide by that figure twice. 241,600. No, come back. 241,600. 600. I gotta think about what I'm doing here. I'm not gonna say it's stressful to be on stream, but it mildly impedes my thinking sometimes. I'm not as quick with this math. Decimal approximation 565. Okay. Okay, so yeah, my it's not, I'm not gonna say it's it's nerve-wracking to be on stream, but it's like you're not as calm as if you're sitting here doing math by yourself. Um, Slightly intimidating doing math on stream. Anyway, so final result. To get our final result, we're going to do 33 trillion over 241,600, and then we're going to put that entire equation above 241,600. And that gives us an answer of 565 hex per ETH. Okay, so this number that I chose was a little too much. I shouldn't have chosen 220,000. I should have chosen 200,000. I made a small mistake doing that, but it's okay. So we're not going to get to 33 cents exactly. So a liquidity injection of 220,000 Ethereum is going to bring us to a final result of 1 Ethereum equaling 565 hex. So let's do the math on that. 1 Ethereum right now is $227. Let's divide that by 565 in Wolfram Alpha. 227 divided by 565. That is 40 cents. So we went over just a little bit. That is 40-cent hex. So it requires $220,000, or sorry, 220,000 ETH to bring the price of hex to 40 cents. So let's see what that is in US dollars exactly. 220,000 times 227. That's $49 million exactly. $50 million almost exactly. All right, guys. So it takes $50 million to pump the price to 40 cents. 30, 40 cents, somewhere in there. Yes, Ash, I'm calculating our vectors and angles to push us to the moon. Have y'all ever seen Apollo 13 where Tom Hanks he's like in that space shuttle and he's like doing calculus and he's like freaking freezing and he's doing calculus trying to figure out what to do? That's what we're doing right now, guys. That's why I got this one-sided microphone. Yeah, 50 million does sound low. I know. That's why I'm so bullish, y'all. Recheck my math. Read the Uniswap white paper and check my math because this is what it is. It takes $50 million to push Uniswap V1 to 33 or 40 cents in this case. 30 or 40 cents, something like that. Check my math. Google for the Uniswap white paper. Check it out for yourself. And so I got some more numbers here. All right. So $50 billion in direct liquidity injection will take the market cap of HEX from 1 billion to 89 billion, roughly. All right. HEX currently has a daily volume of $1 million. BTC currently has a daily volume of $17 billion, according to CoinMarketCap. Now, whether you believe them or not, that's another story. Ethereum has $6.3 billion in volume daily. HEX has $1 million in volume daily. Um, Yes, Mick Clark, this does assume no one is selling. If you inject $50 million in Ethereum into Uniswap and then pull out 25, well, the price is not going to be that high. I'm going to look through the comments here. I'm going to scroll up. Yeah, I do need a whiteboard. Whiteboard would be nice. Are MetaMask wallets safe for HEX? It depends on your paranoia level. I have another video about that I did yesterday. Is the math he's doing make sense? Or is this like Adrian Eisen pulling numbers out of nowhere? Yeah, that's part of why I'm doing this video, is I do notice his math, I don't know if I agree with his math. Sorry I came in late. No denying good texture, a smart guy. He's calculating our vectors and angles required to get to the moon. Yeah, for sure. 100%. We're going to the moon. I think y'all should y'all will understand after this math. And you can do the math yourself, guys. Look, the Uniswap white paper, inside of it has an example. So I followed the example. I plugged in all of the numbers directly from HEX Uniswap v1 Ethereum pair, and this is what comes out of it. It just doesn't take that much. Yep, only $50 million. $50 million does sound low because this is an abnormal market. $50 million liquidity injection for a coin that was listed on Binance and Coinbase and Bitfinex and Kraken and Bitrex. It's not possible. It would take more. But HEX is in a particularly peculiar scenario in that it is almost only traded on Uniswap. So this is it. It takes $50 million. Does this assume no one is selling? Absolutely, 100%. If somebody comes in and sells 25 million, the price will go down a lot. Let's start a GoFundMe for $50 million. Yeah, that's a good idea. They need 200,000 ETH. There's only 35 ETH in the adoption lobby. That'll change. I'm sure somebody's gonna fix that soon. Shit, I really need to understand Uniswap because this is counterintuitive. You should need 1 billion to double the price. No, that's not how these works. These markets are not, so these market caps of these coins are not representative of the underlying liquidity available to the coin. So Bitcoin has a current $170 billion market cap. There's not $170 billion in Bitcoin at all. Nothing even close. If you had $1 billion worth of Bitcoin sell on the open market right now, it would I don't have the exact calculations, but we'll use a different example, an example I'm more confident in. $10 billion. If you dump $10 billion worth of Bitcoin on the open market right now, the coin goes to zero. So there is not $170 billion in Bitcoin at all. So that's why market cap, a lot of people will make the argument that market cap is slightly irrelevant. And it's true. It's not representative of the amount of liquidity in a project. What is representative of the liquidity in a project is actual liquidity itself, which is normally extremely hard to calculate because exchanges, number one, they may not publish all of the asks and bids that are on their platform. Number two, they may have dark pools. Number three, you have all these people that don't actually put in bids and asks. They sit there and put their ask in and pull it out and put it in and pull it out and do all this stuff. You can't really get an accurate representation of how much liquidity is really in some of these crypto markets. Do I think Richard is coin washing? I do think that Ethereum is being recycled into the adoption amplifier. I'm not going to claim that I believe Richard is doing it. I don't know who is doing it, but I do believe I'm fairly confident that there is recycling happening, and that's okay with me. I hope they recycle it harder. Not only that, but I hope they recycle into Uniswap itself, which could happen. Not only could they recycle into Uniswap itself, but they could airdrop all of this HEX onto everyone who is currently staking HEX. So if you're not staking HEX right now, and a magical airdrop from the originating address, origin address. If the origin address decides it wants to airdrop to everybody to reward all of the true believers, you're going to be pretty upset that you didn't have your stakes in. I'm kind of wanting to do the math to see what it would take to pump to 1 penny, which I think is coming in July. I think we're absolutely going to go to a penny in July, and I can reuse some of these figures. We can this will make it really easy. Yeah, free airdrops would be awesome. I want to calculate this for a penny. So let's first calculate how much money it would take. Okay, let's calculate how many ETH, how many HEX per ETH there are at 1 penny. So I want to find out how many ETH per HEX, or HEX per ETH, with HEX at 1 cent. Okay. So that will be, so currently it is, man, my math is so bad when I'm on stream. Normally this stuff just comes to me. I don't even have to think about it. Maybe y'all can help me out with this math. So it's 687 HEX per ETH at 33 cents. It's going to be around, so right now 1 ETH is 71,000. All right, so we'll just do a simple fraction. 1 over 71,205 equals, let me bust out my Wolfram Alpha. Let me turn my screen. Okay. 1 over 71,205. So current HEX price is about, I would say 30, I think it's 31 cents. 31 cents. I believe. Let me check HEX Dex to check the price. HEX Live, sorry. HEX.live to get the current price. Current price is, oh, we're up a little bit. 0032. Okay. So we're at 0032. So we're going to multiply. I'm going to check hexdex.win to see what the actual current Ethereum per hex exchange rate is. Come on, tell me. Tell me. 70,300. 70,314. All right, so we want to find out a penny. So we will do, where's my Wolfram Alpha? Y'all can probably see me sweating. It is super hot. Super hot. I'm going to take my shirt off in a little bit. Sorry. 1 divided by 0.0032. You do math better when you're hot. 1 divided by 0.0032 equals 312. Oh man. I actually should do 0.01 divided by 0032 because I'm looking for a penny, not a dollar. I guess we could do this math on a dollar too. We're going to divide by 3.125. 125. So we're going to do 70,314 0.0314 divided by parentheses 0.01 divided by 0.0032 equals 22500. All right, so to get to a penny, we want to have 22500 hex per ETH. I would show you this, but it looks like scribbledy scratch garbage. You're not going to be able to make any. This isn't going to make any sense. So I don't even know why I'm showing it. I'm not keeping this very clean. Okay, so 22500 hex per ETH is what we need for a penny. So let's reverse plug this into our 33 trillion. Let's do 33 trillion divided by 22500 all over 22500. Let's see what we get. I think that is going to be our, well, maybe not. Let me make sure. No, I'm actually going to do a solver. That's not what I want to do. No, I'm going to do a solving equation. In Wolfram Alpha, what you do is you write, and I'll show you this. We're going to solve, parentheses, 33 trillion divided by x equals 22,500, and then comma x, parentheses. So if you actually want to do a solving in Wolfram Alpha, this is how you solve right here. If you want to solve for a variable, you do solve, parentheses 33 trillion divided by x, it's all on top of each other, equals 22500. And then you have to do comma x, and then you end your parentheses, and Wolfram will actually solve the equation for you. So whatever comes out of this equation is probably going to be the perfect liquidity injection required for a 1 penny boost. Okay, let me change this to approximate form. 38,000. There we go. 38,297. I'm just going to say 38,000 clean. 38,000 Ethereum clean to 1 cent. 38,000 ETH. So you see what's interesting about this protocol, the way that it moves quadratically. So it takes 38,000 Ethereum to pump to 1 penny, but it only takes 200,000 ETH to pump to 33 cents. So the higher and the harder this coin pumps, the less it takes to move it, because what's happening is if somebody were to do an instant injection right now of 200,000 Ethereum, they would completely remove all the liquidity out of the pool, and the price would just skyrocket because there's no liquidity in there. I mean, if nobody adds any liquidity during a pump like this, it's going to pump to the moon. You see what I'm talking about? Like the difference between 38,000, it's not a linear progression, right? It's like a quadratic progression. So the 38,000 goes to 1 penny, but you only have to increase that liquidity injection by 5x to get a 33x boost. So a 5x boost in Ethereum from what it would take to go to 1 penny, a 5x from that boosts it to 33 cents. That's how Uniswap works. That's why this is like such a magical system, and it's going to be able to pump into oblivion just because of how Uniswap how the Uniswap formulas work. And I'm not going to suggest that y'all take my word for it. Y'all should. I read the white paper this morning. Y'all should go read the white paper and study the math yourself and see if you agree on what I'm saying here. Now, I'm not trying to like toot my own horn, but I do have a very I'm not going to say a strong math background, but a very in-depth math background. I took a lot of math. As an engineer, in engineering school, you have to take a lot of math or they won't give you a diploma, and you have to pass it. So I've done a lot of math in my life. I've done a lot of calculus, linear algebra, more calculus, probability and statistics, Just a whole ton of stuff. So don't take my word for it, but check it out yourself. Okay, let me look at some of these comments. Magnus whales everywhere. This is mind-blowing. HEX. Yes, HEX is perfect for Uniswap. And not only that, not only is HEX perfect for Uniswap, but the sell volume is not going to be that great due to the staking. Now, could people get spooked when it pumps that hard? Can people get spooked and emergency in stake and sell everything? Yeah, but I don't think it's going to be a quick pump. I don't think we're going to see a single injection of 200,000 coins. It's going to take time. It's going to be slow. Let me see the comments. Yeah, I don't know if people would crush the price. I'm not convinced. Yeah, Icon 427. You're using linear math. You're saying 20,000 divided by 100. That's not correct math. This math does not solve linearly like that. You can't just say, okay, it took 38,000 ETH to pump the price to 1 penny. Now, if you're thinking linearly, you would think, okay, so if you want to make it 33, then you just multiply 33 times 38,000, which would result in like probably a million ETH, roughly. That would be incorrect math. It doesn't take a million ETH to pump the price to 33 cents. It only takes 200,000 coins. Well, so that's pretty much it, y'all. We've gone over 38,000 to pump the coin to 1 cent and 200,000 to pump the coin to 33 cents. And that's really the gist of it. Anything else y'all can think of? Want to cover? I'm going to go ahead and shut this thing down. Thank you, Corda Panda. Yeah, I'm loving this mic too. I'm glad y'all can hear me. It was not cool recording stuff when you can't be heard. It's kind of ridiculous. 200,000 ETH. Oh, there's my man Steph. What's up, Steph? Smiley face. 200,000 ETH. Where do you expect this to come from? See, that's a good question, and I've been trying. So I know the math, and I believe I know where the price is going. I believe the price is going to 33 cents for a lot of reasons that I haven't covered, but I don't know why. So Steph is asking why. He says, why do you think this is going to go to 33 cents? Where in the world do you see $200,000 ETH coming from? Well, I don't know how much money or how much ETH the adoption amplifier has collected. I don't know how much. I don't know the numbers on that. If there is recycling occurring, I don't know. Okay, so let's do the basic math. Let's assume 10,000 ETH per day since inception. This is not accurate, but it's roughly accurate. That would be 2 million ETH being collected. I believe 10,000 times 200 days. That's 2 million ETH. So if there's been no recycling, and assuming 10,000 per day has been entered into the adoption amplifier, which is not true, but that would mean that there had been 2 million ETH that had been collected. So if that is the case, then it would be very trivial for whoever was on the other side of that adoption amplifier to recycle 200,000 ETH into Uniswap. It wouldn't take that much. I mean, that would only be 10% of everything that's ever been collected, assuming those numbers were close to right. Let's assume that there will be no recycling whatsoever, that nothing out of the adoption amplifier would be funneled into Uniswap. If that were the case, well, 200,000 ETH isn't that much ETH. I mean, we talked about a minute ago about how much liquidity there is, or how much volume there is in Bitcoin. Bitcoin sees $17 billion a day in volume, reportedly by CoinMarketCap. 17 billion. How many multiples of 200,000 ETH is that? Because 200,000 ETH, we'll remember, is about $50 million. Let me turn my screen, pull up my Wolfram, my Wolf buddy here. So 17, let me get a new tab. $17 billion in Bitcoin. 17,000 million billion divided, actually let's divide 50,000 million divided by 17 billion. That's 1 over 340. That's 0.2%. So it would take, to pump HEX to 33 cents, it would take 0.2% of, it would take 0.2% of Bitcoin's coin market cap reported daily volume, not weekly volume, not monthly volume, daily volume. So if you took 0.2% of the volume that CoinMarketCap reports daily for Bitcoin, 0.2%, and injected that into Uniswap, you would have 33 cent HEX. And I'm guessing that I'm curious, Steph. So I studied the Uniswap white paper this morning to get to these calculations. I'm wondering, Steph, if you've come to the same conclusions, or if you agree with my math in that it would take $200,000 or 200,000 ETH to pump the price to 33 cents. I'm curious if you came to the same conclusions and that my math, in your opinion, would be correct. Maybe you've never done the math before, but that's okay too. Yeah, Vince Chang says some of the new BTC free claimers could start to see the value in liquidating their BTC for ETH to get HEX. And that's 100% accurate, because they're going to be holding bags that are going to be skyrocketing in price. And it's going to be hard for them not to do a little bit of converting, especially when their BTC bags are just floundering. They're not doing anything. They're not doing anything at all. $200,000 ETH is only 44.5 million at current prices. I'm pretty sure your math is wrong. 200, 123 times 227. Yes, Corda Panda, your math is wrong by an order of magnitude. 200,000 ETH is $45 million. So your suggestion of 4.5 million is off by an order of magnitude. Steph says even 50,000 ETH would trigger a massive bull run. Yeah, and as we just covered, it only takes 38,000 ETH to pump the price to a penny. So I would think the FOMO, like I've said, once it gets to a penny, it's never coming back. I very seriously believe that. If somebody were to do a 50,000 ETH injection right now, that would send the price to well over a penny. And I do not think it would ever come back. And then additional, yes, Steph is on it. He says additional market participants would fill the gap. So you get this one pump by one person that injects 50,000 ETH. That's going to cause FOMO, and people are going to come in behind him and start filling in behind him and pumping the price behind him. Steph says he's busy coding at the same time. Yeah, man, we are behind you, bro. I'm glad. We know that when we don't see you, we know you're coding. We know you're hard at work. We're thinking about you, though. You would need to write it down, too. Yeah, I think it's right, though. I'm almost positive it's right. I think your time is better spent coding, though, than calculating pumps. And Steph, by the way, everybody, man, we really appreciate what you do for the community and just everything you do for everybody, man. It's going to work out. It's going to work out well for everybody in the long term, and we all appreciate it. Hexman says FOMO soon because DeFi is pumping like hell. Yes, DeFi is the next bull run. Absolutely. A new wave of the big crisis will blow up during the fall because the COVID-19 second wave already started. Yeah, and people can't get interest rates. And they're going to ban cash, folks. This is only a matter of time. Cash is going to be outlawed because, and I tweeted about this over a year ago before the pandemic ever started. They're going to use a pandemic as a scapegoat for banning cash because governments don't like cash. They want to be able to raid your bank account and lock your bank account and freeze your bank account. When you have cash, they can't do anything. They can't. You have rights. You can't have a cop come in and illegally search and seize your cash. Whereas illegally seizing funds, it's a little bit easier. Nobody's going to get shot over that. Ash says, especially if this is the latest triple tap of support line. Okay. Did Richard say there's an additional 10% shares given to a HEX stake? No. No. There's not an additional 10% shares given to a HEX stake over 150 million HEX. You may have understood is that the bigger pays better bonus caps out at 10%. So once you get up to 150 million coins, the bigger pays better bonus stops. So there's really not a lot of incentive to not ladder your coins. It's only 10%. Do you think that one day when HEX is at a high enough price, it will act as a stable type coin? I think it's very possible. And I think it would be a good thing. I think that the more stable the price gets, like let's say that the price of HEX is stable for 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 years at a time, that would make people more incentivized to stake because they're not going to be worried about the price dropping over their contract term. So if HEX is $1 and you put in a stake that is going to earn over the total life of the stake, it's going to earn 10% interest. That is 10 cents per share of interest that you would accrue. So that would, if the price stayed solid and did not move, that would give you $1.10 at the end of your term. But if the core price of HEX drops 15%, well, you just put in a $1 stake and left with 95 cents. So you end up losing money. I mean, that's the wild appreciation of HEX long-term shares kind of outweighs this. You know, if you're doing a 10-year stake and you're getting an 80x appreciation on what you put in and the price drops 50%, well, you still did 40x. You know, it's not that big of a deal. But I think stability could definitely aid in making people feel more comfortable about locking their money up for long periods of time. And this is going to take a while. You know, I don't think stability is going to come. And I don't think people's comfort is going to come quickly. I don't think people are going to wake up, you know, after 1 month of stability and said, okay, yeah, let's lock in 10-year stakes. I think it's going to take several years for people to really get comfortable with it. But after the several years have elapsed, you know, some of the gains will have elapsed also. Hats off to Steph and Firebun, Vince Chang. Yes, sir. 100%. Those guys are rock stars. Absolute rock stars. What would you recommend as a starting spot for someone who wants to get into programming? You know, people have a lot of different opinions about this. My first programming language was C++. I don't regret it because I learned the underlying fundamentals of how memory works in a computer. If you learn Python as your first language, you may not necessarily be exposed to raw memory structures. You may not be forced to learn how to handle memory. And if you do not learn how to handle memory, you're not going to be as proficient of a programmer, in my opinion, especially if it comes to high performance applications. High performance applications are they need optimizations. And if you're a Python programmer that's never been exposed to the raw memory layer, you're not necessarily going to be very good at optimizations. I myself, the way that my programming career or my programming learning experience progressed, I started in C++. I realized C++ was total garbage. And then I started coding in C, which in my opinion is a vastly superior language. Um, the Linux operating system is written in C and not C++ for a good reason. C++, in my opinion, is total garbage. Might as well use Java. And after that, I got into Java and Python and a lot of Bash. I did a lot of actually, Bash is a really good way to start out. Um, Honestly, if I were to start it all over again, I would do exactly what I did the first time, and I would get the book Carnegie and Ritchie. I can't remember what it's called, but it's like Intro to C++, or no, it's called The C Programming Language by Carnegie and Ritchie. One of those founders, they founded the C programming language. One of them died recently, but the book was written in the 70s. So the C programming language was written, I think, in the 70s, maybe the early 80s. And my I really the moment that I can remember when I really became proficient in programming and I really understood programming at a deeper level was I worked through every example in that book, front to back. I installed Linux. You can just use GCC, the GNU C compiler, and you can compile all that stuff on the command line by hand and execute the programs, and you'll learn a lot doing it. That's what I would recommend doing: installing Linux, learning a little bit how to use the command line. It wouldn't be a bad idea to learn how to use the Linux command line if you're going to be a programmer. Um, the Bash shell scripting language is fabulous, in my opinion. I like it. If there's anything that I can ever do in Bash, I'll do it in Bash instead of Python, just because I'm more comfortable with it. Python's a lot more efficient, most likely. Um, Python is also a fantastic language. If you're going to get a language under your belt, Python is one to consider. No doubt. Crypto Goose says the pandemic has caused a way to limit or stop the velocity of money in society, hence no hyperinflation. That's a great point. That's a great point. We have not seen a lot of hyperinflation, that's for sure. It's been pretty calm. Inflation's pretty calm. And I'm back to getting $6.99 ribeyes at the store. Meat is back, my friends. Meat is back. Python being where the money at, maybe. It's definitely going places. It's not you're not going to go wrong. If you learn Python, you're not going to go wrong. My only worry would be that you would be missing out on some of the underlying fundamentals of computers. I also did a lot of work in assembly. I wrote operating systems in a mix of C and assembly language. I wrote an operating system for the Power PC processor and on an FPGA. Okay. Yeah, it was on an FPGA. It was an FPGA that had a field programmable gate array that had a processor on it. That was interesting. Whew, that was interesting times. Yeah, this COVID thing cover for a lot of things. HEX could be a stablecoin. I think it could be. Ryan Lopez, what is up, my man? What is going on? Cash is needed in case of war. Electricity, yeah, the electricity. If electricity does shut down or if there's a solar flare, you can kiss your crypto goodbye. It's done. Unless Tesla. Somebody messaged me this morning and said that Tesla was creating this new internet system called Starlink, and it's going to be like a bunch of satellites. If the power goes down and you have solar panels like I do, everything that I have is running off solar. My phone right now is connected as we speak to a solar panel. That's why I'm in a strange location right now, is because I ran out of power in my phone and I had to connect it to the solar panel. So I had to move. Anyway, you can run your phones or whatever off of a solar panel, and if the internet goes out, assuming it wasn't a solar flare, because if there's a solar flare, it's going to knock out all the satellites real quick. If there's not a solar flare, you could just connect to one of those Starlink internet things, and if the power is out in your country, you can still get internet. That seems like a definite possibility. I think you'll probably have to have a satellite dish in your yard or something, but you power it with solar, it's not a big deal. Hey Ryan, you need to check this video from the start. Yeah, so if we have some new followers or new viewers, we did the math in this video. We did the math on how to find out how much Ethereum it would take to pump HEX to 1 penny, and the outcome was 38,000 ETH to pump the price to a penny. And then the price to pump HEX to 33 cents is 200,000 coins, roughly. Right around 200,000 coins will pump to 33 cents. So the price moves up kind of in a quadratic nature. It doesn't move linearly. So the more money you put in, the price goes exponentially higher. So if it takes 38,000 Ethereum to pump to 1 cent, that doesn't mean that it takes 76,000 ETH to pump to 2 cents. It doesn't work that way. It's not linear. So that's what we covered today. We covered how to do the math on that, and I played around with Wolfram Alpha just a little bit. Let me check my Twitter. HEX share rate updated to 1.04189. Shares are running away from us, folks. Shares are running away from us. AngularJS and Go are good languages to learn, says Ash. Maybe. Remember the movie The Big Short? The average Joe wants to invest in something that will bring in returns. Yeah, they do. They want money. I started with C. Diego says he started with C and thinks everyone should learn a low-end language. Yeah, absolutely. I absolutely agree. I think that learning C, the C programming language with Kernighan and Ritchie, and maybe even getting into a little bit of assembly, very, very good idea. Yeah, Java and Python are very abstract. Python is really cool. It's just magic, though. It's doing everything for you. You're not really having to work that hard with Python. It's really kind of, it takes care of a lot of stuff for you. I mean, if you want to do something complicated, you'll put, variable dot do this for me, please, and it just does it. With C, you have to, if you don't have the functions or a library imported to do things for you, which, you can have a function in C that will do everything for you as well, just like Python, but there's still going to be more involved. You're going to have to pass memory pointers and all these kind of things. That's what people don't understand in C. A lot of people have a lot of trouble, especially in like university settings. A lot of the noobs that decide that they want to go into computer science because they love video games. That's what happens is freshmen in computer science, about half of the entering class is in computer science because they like playing video games. And they think, well, I like playing video games, so I guess I'm probably meant to be a programmer. Yeah, those people, they generally get wrecked in my experience. I mean, my freshman computer science class, I mean, at least half of them were gone within a year or two. Within 3 years, well over half of them were gone, if not 75%. They got wrecked. They couldn't do the math, they couldn't do the calculus, and they couldn't handle the pointers in C or C++, and they couldn't handle the data structures. The data structures were too complicated, and if you can't handle data structures, you're not going to be able to do very well in algorithms, because algorithms can be a beast. If you start with K&R, you'll need exercises to really learn. There's exercises in K&R, Kernighan Ritchie. They're basic, but I think they were pretty good. Any tips for starting a farm? Yeah, buy some land. Buy some land, clear some trees, build some fences, plant some cows, and make sure you get enough rainfall for the grass to grow. And keep the cows away from anywhere that you want to drill a well into the ground, because you don't want to get your well infected with cow poo-poo. Yep. It's more complicated than that, but those are the basics. What about machine code? Nobody writes machine code. That's ones and zeros. Nobody writes machine code. Ever. Not even masochists do that. PHP for 20 years. Wow, that's intense. KNTX, what's up, my man? Hey, GT. Sorry I'm late to the party. Everybody hit that like and subscribe for more GT videos. Yeah, I'm doing it at a really weird time. Most guys are... most people are probably busy right now. They're in the middle of the afternoon. I don't think this is the best time to do a stream, but we got a lot of European viewers on that normally don't get to take part in a stream, so that's good. Hopefully Elon made his satellites hardened against radiation or against solar flares. Yeah, hopefully. I don't know if he did or not. I don't know much about Skylink. I think the notion of market cap is not effective. We need a new and more effective metric to value projects. Yeah, market cap is not effective at all. I think liquidity is a much better measure, but liquidity is very difficult to measure unless you have a direct view into the liquidity pool. And now we do with Uniswap. You can't do that with Binance. You don't have a direct view into the liquidity pool with Binance. So you're kind of in the dark. That's the great thing about this. This calculation that I just did on how much money it would take to pump the price. You can only do that with Uniswap. You can't do that with Binance because you don't know how much hidden liquidity Binance has, and you don't know how much their numbers are being spoofed. They could be making all that stuff up. I mean, there's just no way to verify it. They could be making up their orders. Vince Chang, I love how you phrase that. Plant some cows. Yeah, man. Just get you some cows, plant them. If you want some, hell, get you a bison, get you a buffalo. If you want some goats, get those, but you're going to have to do better than a barbed wire fence if you want some goats. You're going to have to get some serious fencing because those goats they will jump it. Maybe you want some chickens. I don't advise eating a lot of chickens, though. I don't think historically humans ate a lot of chickens. Chickens are a very recent creation. I think you're better off sticking to large mammals for your food intake. It probably applies to eggs, too. Probably applies to dairy, too. I don't think humans have been eating a ton of dairy, but not for very long, at least. It could be wrong, but good luck to the gamers with simple recursion. Yeah, recursion, they don't get recursion in C, that's for sure. Plant some cows. We love it in UK. HEX is a very game theory. The number 33 is the most important number in Freemasonry. HEX is a psychological staking platform. I have seen it argued, and this is really interesting. Y'all saw that video with HEX. I mean, with not HEX. See, I'm doing it too. I'm calling everything HEX now. You saw the video with Richard Hart destroying fake Tashi, and I've seen rumors before that people think that fake Tashi's whole charade that he's doing is so embarrassing and so ridiculous that they think that he is actually trying to fulfill his ascension to the 33rd degree of Freemasonry, and that in order to become 33rd degree, that these people have to do something like really embarrassing or really ridiculous, or they have to just kind of prove to themselves that they're worthy. Kind of like what Brad Garlinghouse is doing, running Ripple into the ground. Maybe he's trying to ascend to 33rd degree Freemasonry. I have no idea. What are your thoughts on tomorrow's end of the Mayan calendar? The Mayan calendar ended in 2012, bro. Yeah. Yeah, Craig S. Wright. That's his name. Oh, I have reached the end of the chat. Oh, man, it is so hot. I might call this thing quits if we don't have any more things to talk about. But yeah, this HEX pumpability thing is unbelievable. $50 million to pump it. And this video, by the way, is dedicated to RG3. RG3 wanted me to do the math for this. Y'all are more than welcome to double check my math. And what I should do so that y'all could double check me is I can write a Steemit article about this and outline the math in a more basic manner so that you can follow along, because you're not going to be able to read this paper through the video very well. And in the Steemit article, you can double check me. Most people probably don't care to double check me, and I don't really even care to if anybody double checks me, because I'm almost sure that it's right. It's just not that difficult. There's not any weird equations or anything. You basically just calculate the invariant and then divide the invariant by the new amount of HEX that will be available in the liquidity pool. And then you pretty much got your answer. It's just not complicated math. Like, it moves quadratically, and that makes it sound like it's really complicated, and it's probably using square roots and all kind of crazy mathematical constants and probably a golden ratio and all kind of stuff. But no, it's not doing any of that. It's not complicated. Need a cool beer? No, bro. I need a cool Evian water, which this one is getting warm. I'm gonna jump into my handy dandy freezer here. Let's get another one. Solar powered freezer, guys. It's good stuff. Very good stuff. If you are off grid and you do not have a solar powered fridge, you are living a hard life. I guarantee you that. I need to upgrade my solar system so I can run a full actual desktop computer in here. But with HEX about to moon, I really don't want to dump $2,000 or $3,000 into a solar system. I just don't want to do it. I don't need it. What do you think price around big payday before day of after? I have an idea now. I'm not gonna say. I'll probably start giving more. So I have two predictions right now that are public. I have July 1 cent, 1 cent by the end of July. I really do believe that. It only takes 38,000 ETH to get there. And how much is 38,000 ETH? That's 4 times. That's like $8 million. It takes $8 million to take us to a penny. Come on, guys. Come on, guys. That's child's play. So anyway, I have two predictions: 1 cent by the end of July, and 33 cents by the end of 2020. Anybody that thinks that $8 million injection is going to be difficult to achieve in HEX, all I can say is, come on. That's not difficult. We saw that already. We've already seen. I mean, like that big mega whale that came in on April 18th or 19th, whatever injection he put in. I don't remember exactly how much of a liquidity injection he added, but it wasn't that much smaller than $8 million. If it was smaller than $8 million. Good texture. You were the man for making these videos. Appreciate it, Quarter Panda. Archie asks if I'm into apple cider vinegar. For what? I mean, what are you trying to do with it? It depends on what you're trying to do with apple cider vinegar. I have the belief that plants and plant derivatives are extremely good at killing stuff. So if you have like a fungal infection or a bacterial infection and you're trying to use apple cider vinegar to kill it, that seems very plausible to me. I think plants can be immensely useful for killing stuff. A lot of people think that plants have magical properties. Well, I'm not going to say they don't have magical properties. A lot of people believe that plants have medicinal healing properties. And I don't necessarily believe that plants have medicinal healing properties outside of their ability to kill stuff that are infecting us, like bacteria, viruses. Well, not really even viruses, but mainly bacteria and fungus. I've seen plants kill stuff like that, so I'm for it. Can white noise offset loud raindrops in a cabin, or just trading noise for noise? You know, the rain's not loud if you get enough insulation put up there. I've got like 8 inches of insulation in the roof now. I ended up going way overboard on the insulation, and I barely hear the rain now. I mean, I hear it, but it doesn't matter. It's actually comforting now. Crypto Goose says, where did the name Good Texture come from? Well, so when I first started my Twitter profile in September of 2018, I was trying to look for a new name, and I always liked the Cookie Monster. And there's a video on YouTube with the Cookie Monster. He's like grabbing a cookie, and he looks at it, and he eats it, and he's like, good texture. You know, because the cookie's got a good texture to it. So that was my name. It's the Cookie Monster. He that's what he thinks about cookies. He thinks the cookies have a really good texture to them. Marco Sagis says, what is your ethnicity? I am a European mixed breed. 25% Italiano, and then the rest is probably some German, because my half-brother, got one of those 23andMe tests done, and he had a lot of British in him and a lot of German in him. So I'm guessing I'm probably a mix of German, British, and then of course Italiano. What does my ethnicity look like? Do I look like a what do I look like? KNTX says, have you looked into the Tesla power stations to store energy captured by your solar cells? No, I haven't, because it seems like they're probably really expensive, and it's easier for me to just go to AutoZone and pick up a car battery, or what I'm actually running right now are deep cycle uh, deep cycle boat batteries. They're meant to run trolling motors, and they hold pretty good amount of energy, and they're very readily accessible. Now the thing is, they're lead acid batteries, so they're going to degenerate. I don't know. I'm guessing that the Tesla power stations are probably lithium ion based, lithium carbonate based batteries, and they probably last a long time. They probably last longer, but they're also probably extremely expensive. I can get these trolling motor batteries for like 70, 80, $90 a pop, and that's not that bad. And they're available at the local store in my small town. So yeah, that's what I'm sticking to for now. It sounds cool though. Hopefully they can get the price down. Hextashi says 43,000 ETH would be $9.7 million. Yes, sir. Yep, that sounds about right. Pretty close. Dabbing Dolphin. Man, that's a lot of hex. You got a lot of hex there, Dabbing Dolphin. That's 0.01% of all shares in existence. That is quite an achievement, my friend, and you will probably be among the crypto elite very soon. Thank you for explaining the math. You're very welcome. Good if you have digestion issues or acid reflux, Archie S. I'm guessing he was talking about um, apple cider vinegar. Yeah, I probably wouldn't agree with that. I think that it might, if it does help you, it's probably because it's masking another problem. I think that it's better to solve problems at the source instead of trying to use medicinal band-aids to cover up the problem that you have, because in the end, you're just going to end up making the problem. Potentially, it could get worse as it's festering and you're not addressing the actual problem. Oliver Antos says, where do you live? I live in the southern United States in the state of Mississippi. Mississippi of the USA is a very poor state. It is the poorest state in the United States. It is a very racially diverse state. We probably have the largest population of African Americans in the United States, which is not surprisingly, but we've also not really had any violent riots here. When you go to, and I'm sure I'll get called racist for saying this, but people are too damn sensitive these days. I don't care. I recently lived in Baltimore, Maryland, and the African Americans in Baltimore, they're very different than the ones, not very different, but they're just different in Mississippi. Everyone kind of, um, they kind of assimilate the same culture. Like, people aren't really that different at all. And Richard posted this thing the other day that I wish that people would really abide by, including myself. I think that people should follow this a lot closer, and this doubly goes for myself. Is he posted a video that said that had Denzel Washington. No, it was not Denzel Washington. It was Morgan Freeman, who is from Mississippi, by the way. He's got a massive house out in the Delta. A very smart guy. And Morgan Freeman said, the guy asked Morgan Freeman, he said, how do we get rid of racial tension? And Morgan Freeman says, stop talking about it. And he's 100% right. I've gotten to the point where yesterday I had this encounter. People down here still can be racially odd at times, but I've gotten to where I just have started not even registering what race a person is. I'm just talking to a person. I'm just talking to a person, a human. Doesn't matter what color they are or anything. And I think if everyone just started talking to each other as if they were humans and stopped trying to talk about the differences, but instead tried to talk more about the similarities, there would be less problems. Interestingly, also, I'm not going to talk about race anymore. That is the most tired topic in the world right now. There's no reason for me to talk about race anymore. Yes, well, no, I'm not completely off grid because I'm talking to you right now. Archie S asked if I'm completely off grid. No, I'm not completely off grid because I am talking to you on a cell phone that is probably powered by a 4G or an LTE or a 3G or something um, radio antenna. So that antenna is connected to a grid. So this phone is connected to a grid. My food comes from a grid. My food, I do not grow all of my own food here. I go to the grocery store to get my food, and I have products in my home here. I have a refrigerator right behind me that's powering my phone right now. That refrigerator slash freezer is was produced by the grid. Someone connected to the grid produced that. So no, I'm not off grid. I don't think anybody is off grid. Anybody that claims to be off grid, they're probably lying because they probably have an internet connection. Now, I think a lot of people define off grid differently. They mean, when they say off grid, they mean simply not connected to the electrical grid, and that's how they define off grid. So yes, I am not connected to the electrical grid whatsoever in any way, shape, or form. Um, I think off grid is more than that, though. I think I kind of equate being off grid to being self reliant and able to do your own thing, able to grow your own food, able to feed yourself without relying on tanker truckers or semi truck drivers to deliver your food to Walmart for you, because all that's on grid. KNTX says over insulating is one of the best luxury purchases you will ever invest in. You're 100% right, my friend. That is one of the best splurges I have ever done. It's like 90 to 95 degrees outside right now. I have no air conditioner running, and it's hot. Like, you can probably see sweat on me. It's hot, but it's not. It's yeah. You can okay. Yeah, you can definitely see sweat on me. It's hot, but it's not debilitating. Um, in 2018, before I insulated it, it was probably 130 degrees in here. It was debilitating. It was very difficult to, and I wasn't here a lot during that time. It was too hot. Archie S says Celtic looking. Well, I think I probably do have some ancestry that's British, so I guess that would be Celtic. I would say British, Eastern European, Slavic. I probably don't have any Slavic background. Probably just Italian, German, maybe French, maybe English. Is Richard a Freemason? Probably. I saw he was being really shady about some of the questions yesterday. He pretended he didn't know what the number 13 was. No, I don't buy that. I'm thinking he knows a little more than he lets on. I thought it was funny that he immediately denounced astrology so quickly, considering that he launched this project to be um, in accordance with favorable astrological conditions, according to the Chinese zodiac. I don't, I don't, I don't buy that he doesn't know astrology. He Crypto Goose says he loves Sesame Street too. Yeah, I like Sesame Street. Is now a good time to sell BTC for gold? Uh, it's hard to say. I mean, look, guys, you gotta have some gold. Yeah, check this video out. If you don't have some gold, what are you doing with your life? Like, if the power grid goes down, if your crypto evaporates, if you gotta have gold. I mean, that's what money is. Nothing is money except for gold. Money is gold. Gold is money. Nothing else. That's it. Not platinum, not silver, not palladium, not rhodium. It's gold. That's it. That's money. If you're in this game to get money, and when you take, if you take profits somehow, and you're not getting gold, I don't know what you're doing. You gotta get gold, man. Um, I'm not 100% confident that Hex will be around. If let's assume I have grandchildren in this crazy world, I'm not 100% certain that Hex will exist when my grandchildren are around. But I tell you what, this gold, it will still exist. It will still be here. And if you're wanting to buy gold, by the way, I do not recommend coins. I recommend jewelry. Um, Number one, if there are any potential energetic effects of gold, if you've got the coins locked in a safe, you're not going to be able to experience them. They're gone. When you have jewelry, you've got it on your person, and if there are any energetic or even just psychological effects, you're going to be able to experience it. Gold coins don't give you that benefit. They're locked in a safe. You never see it. And the people that I do know that own gold, they like to take it and play with it and hold it. It's super heavy stuff. They like to fondle it and everything, and just wear jewelry, and you don't have to do any of that stuff. Um, Jewelry is superior. You can take it across borders. You can leave the country with it a lot easier. If you try to take 50 silver eagles or gold eagles out of the country on an airplane, I mean, maybe you can. Maybe it wouldn't be a problem, but it might get kind of squirrely. You try to take a kilo bar on an airplane. I don't know. Maybe they'll let you, but they'd be a lot more likely to let you do what you want if you had jewelry and not kilo bars. So, Joey Paletti, is now a good time to sell BTC for gold? Now is a good time to sell BTC for HEX if you're trying to make money. That's the trade here. The trade is not BTC for gold. The trade is BTC for HEX. If you don't have any gold at all, that's scary. I mean, you got to at least have a little bit. Um, but I don't think right now is a good time to accumulate gold in the face of the opportunity that is in HEX. You've got everything has an opportunity cost. So if you buy gold and the price stays flat, you may actually still be losing money in opportunity cost because the price of HEX may have gone to the moon and you're sitting here holding gold. That's an opportunity cost. You gotta take into consideration opportunity costs with every investment, and that's why people go all in into stuff is because of opportunity costs. The price of a Tesla Powerwall won't be a problem when HEX is 33 cents. Yeah, I guess it won't be, but I don't know. I'm still kind of minimalist. I don't like. I'm not gonna like. Let's say HEX goes to 33 cents tomorrow. I'm not gonna just start buying stuff I don't need just willy nilly just to buy it. I don't. I'm just not that kind of person. I'm a thrifty kind of person. Yeah, Brasology, your mic sounds decent, but it's cracking a little bit. Isn't that terrible? Isn't that terrible? And I don't know why it's doing that. It's uh, it's a new mic. It shouldn't be cracking. Maybe I'm too close. I'm gonna. Maybe it's too close to me, and I'm gonna scroll down. How does this sound? I'm gonna have it way out here. Can y'all actually hear me now? Is it less cracking when it's way out there? Oh wow, I got a bunch of comments. Dang, I gotta speed up. Y'all give me some feedback on if having my mic way out here is too low, because I'm thinking that it might be cracking because my mouth is too close to it. It's better far out, says Ethelstan. I'm thinking that the cracking is from me spiking the microphone out. Sounds good way out there. Okay. The longer I do this, the quieter I'm getting. So regarding your mic, maybe your mic being out sounds good. I don't think it's the wireless aspect. I think it's because with my mouth like right next to it, um, I don't know if you understand how the microphone works. Like it's got a little magnet and a little thing in it, but I might be too close. I might be maxing it out. I'm gonna scroll back up now. If I get talking too quiet, because I talk pretty quiet, if I get to be talking too quiet, just say something and I'll move it back closer. Icon 427 says our penny spiking chart will bring speculative money from other top 10 coins. Gatekeepers will have to list HEX because investors will find us. Yeah, I think that other people will probably dump other coins to get into HEX once it starts mooning. That seems very plausible. People like money, and crypto has been destroyed for the last 2.5 years. People want money. People are looking for something better. They're looking for a better investment, and HEX is obviously it. Steph says, are you thinking about being autonomous food-wise? I would like to have my own cattle and beef and be able to raise my own cattle, because I do believe to some degree that there are some pretty rich, powerful people that do not like people being healthy. I believe that cattle are some of the healthiest, probably the healthiest food that you can possibly eat, and that damages the industrial, uh, pharmacological healthcare system. That damages their profits, and that damages their pea protein isolate manufacturing companies. And it seems that this whole thing with COVID-19, with the meat packing plants closing down, and the local grocery store for a time, doubling their ribeye prices, that stuff is scary. We've really kind of woken up to what can happen to supply chains, and I don't want to be in a situation to where I have to start eating rice just because somebody else doesn't want me to eat meat. I don't. So I don't know if I don't know if I'll actually get that far to raising cattle. I don't know. That's another topic. That's a long topic. I could talk about this for a lot. Are you thinking about being autonomous food wise? Yeah, I could really talk about that a lot. There's a lot of ifs in there. Would I even want to stay where I'm at right now? Um, I don't know. I don't know. There's a lot of ifs there. I've been asking myself these questions for 8 years, and I still don't really know the answers to them. Things are going to change, after HEX pumps here in the next few months. People are going to have to do a lot of potentially soul searching and trying to figure out what it is that they want to do, what it is they want to do with their life, and what their calling really is. I think I think it's going to require some serious searching for a lot of people, probably myself included. Dan Dog says COVID-19 is a psychological manipulation to control on a globe agenda, one world order, kill the small businesses. The number 33 is in most reports. Yeah, probably. I mean, they're not even really hiding it anymore, that the goal is to have a one world government. I mean, that's pretty obvious. That's the goal. Anything that can be done to destroy or to erode power of individual nation states is going to happen. So, Hextashi says, is your electricity powered by solar? Yes, I am fully solar powered. 100%. T House says Richard is into status. Yes, he is into status, and that is why HEX is going to number one. Can you imagine the status that Richard Hart will have once HEX flips Bitcoin and Ethereum? Can you imagine? Can you imagine the status he'll have? Yeah, I've said it before. His price predictions 10,000x in 2.5 years is low. The Chinese say, Crypto Goose says, the Chinese say any day you can trade paper gold for gold is a good day. Yeah. The the gold markets are, I say that the opportunity in HEX is better than gold. That's true, even considering that the gold markets are rigged and possibly on the verge of catastrophic failure. If the gold markets do enter some type of catastrophic failure where the COMEX defaults and the price goes to $10,000 an ounce, which I think it's possible. I don't know how the likelihood is, but it seems possible that something like that could happen. If that does happen, HEX is still a better opportunity. If gold 10x's or no 5x's from here, HEX was still a better opportunity. So that's saying a lot. Athelstan says jewelry is always overpriced. Yes, it is. So if you pay 10% markup on a gold coin, you're gonna pay 25, 30% markup on jewelry. But if the price 5x's, it doesn't really matter. And I believe that the usefulness, the usability that comes in the jewelry form, I think it's superior. Now, if you already have a lot of jewelry and you just want to have some extra gold bars, there's nothing wrong with that. But I think people should focus, if they don't actually have a stack, they might want to focus on jewelry first. That's just my opinion, though. There's a lot of people that would fight me and disagree about that. L the one says I look like an Italio-German mix. Interesting. That's really cool. I guess I'm talking to Europeans, so that's really cool to hear y'all's opinion because y'all probably have much deeper insight into what European people look like and what European people are supposed to look like. And it's really interesting to hear y'all's opinion about that because, in America, we don't talk about that kind of stuff. We don't say, you look like an Italio-German mix. We don't have those kind of conversations at all. We say, oh, you have a Southern accent. Like Annette, she talks Southern. She has a really Southern accent. I might have a slightly Southern accent. Sometimes I try to hide it a little bit, but especially on the internet. But I probably have it a little bit. Anyway, that's what we talk about. We talk about accents. We don't talk about you look Italian and German. KNTX. All the generationally wealthy invest in gold, real estate, and fine arts. In times of war and uncertainty, they roll their fine art and haul off with their gold. Come back for their real estate. Yeah, it makes sense. It makes a lot of sense. Yeah, that's also what Jim Rickards recommends. Jim Rickards recommends gold, cash, real estate, fine art, and I can't remember the other one. And Crypto Goose, I fondle my silver coins. Something mystical happens when you hold a gold kilo bar or a silver gold bar. I agree. If you've never held, the biggest piece of gold I've ever held was a 10-ounce bar. If you've never held a 10-ounce gold bar, it's so tiny. It's like this big, and it weighs half a pound. It is amazing. It's almost like there's an energy coming out of it. It's amazing. KNTX, real estate is one of the few assets that generate cash flow, but gold is truly an insurance policy. Take it from the insurance agent. HEX is the speculative investment of a lifetime. Yeah, I agree. I absolutely agree. I don't know that I agree that gold is only an insurance policy. I think that it is it's money and nothing else is money. Truly. Joey Paletti says thank you. I'll probably dump another BTC for HEX. Probably a good plan. It's probably going to do better than BTC. KNTX, my advice is buy HEX, sell enough for real estate, and gold to diversify. The thing about real estate, though, is it's kind of man, you got to really wonder what the shape of the country is going to be in 10 years. What if you had recently bought real estate in Minneapolis, Minnesota? How bad would that investment look right now? So I think real estate is, especially with population leveling off. Population does not seem like we've got a demographics bubble that seems to be popping right now. There's not as many children being born as were being born. And this demographics bubble, perhaps it's offset by the fact that people aren't really having families as much as they used to. You don't have a whole lot of nuclear families. I mean, you do, but they're not the standard anymore. So when you have people who are more alone and living individually, they take up more space. They have more occupancies. They have more apartments. These kind of things. So I don't know if real estate is necessarily a home run in this environment, but maybe it is. Okay. Yeah, Avis Than says a mic on a stand is superior. Yeah, I agree. I just don't have the necessarily have the power requirements to power one, and I don't know that if it would necessarily cooperate with my phone. Yeah, Athelstan says he wants to raise cattle and he's looking to buy some land, but it's hard in the UK. There's so many laws and stipulations, and that's one of the great, amazing things about the state that I'm in Mississippi is there's very little in the way of regulation, regulatory oversight, um, limitations on what you can do. I mean, like my whole setup here. And I've looked into the laws. My setup here in California is probably 100% illegal. My setup in Colorado is probably 100% illegal. Like they would evict me from my own home in some of those communist states simply for doing what I want to do. And Mississippi is not like that. It's much more of a stay off my lawn and mind your own business kind of place. You know, if you tried to have this place in New York State, it would be illegal. And of course, you know, a mommy nanny state like the United Kingdom, it's probably even worse than California, if I had to guess. I don't know how you guys live in the United Kingdom. If I was over there, it would be probably my number one priority to get out as soon as possible. Um, it is probably one of the central locations for the rise of the Orwellian state. I think George Orwell himself was English, and I believe Australia and the United Kingdom are probably the epicenter of the Orwellian uh, measures that we're going to see coming into the world. Would not want to be there. Wouldn't want to be in China. That's another reason why I don't understand people wanting to go to Singapore and Hong Kong. Why would you want to essentially be ruled by the Chinese? I do not know if that's a good idea. Steph says HEX at 33 cents removes many ifs. Yeah, your clarity in life will probably materialize very quickly if HEX hits 33 cents. Everything that you thought was a mystery, everything that you were trying to figure out about in life, maybe you figure it out real quick. Saitama says, have you considered solar-powered aeroponics? I don't know what aeroponics means. Yeah, I don't know what that means. Do you have any thoughts on red meat being bad for you? Um, yeah, the people that push against red meat are people that I believe have an agenda to harm you. Red meat is probably the healthiest food you can possibly eat. It has been the primary food of humans for hundreds and hundreds of thousands of years. Humans have subsisted on red meat. Humans were not subsisting on chicken for hundreds of thousands of years. Now, fish, I believe humans have been eating fish for a long time as well. Big brains probably made early fishing very feasible. I've seen examples of fish being found with old bodies, you know, in caves and stuff like that. So I think fish is good. I think beef is good. I think that anybody that says that meat, red meat especially, and cholesterol, for example, are damaging you or harming you, I think you should double check what they're telling you, because I'm not of the opinion that the human body has maladapted to its primary food source over the last, you know, several 100,000 years. I don't think that was a mistake. I think that was, and you'll notice, you know, especially among like the vegan vegetarian crowd, they're typically anti-human. They are against women having a lot of babies. They're into vasectomies. You know, you'll see Durian Ryder on YouTube and Vegan Gains. They're the two biggest vegan YouTubers. Both of them have vasectomies. They have both eliminated their ability to procreate. That's because they're anti-human. And it is what it is. You have to look at where these people are coming from. And anybody who is against red meat, in my opinion, is anti-human. And I'll always believe that a human's life is more important than a cow's life. I don't, that's never going to change. RK says, I have a lot of stakes ending right after BBD. I guess that means BPD. Is it worth it to emergency end stake and restake for longer? Man, that's up to you. I can't answer that question for you. It depends on what you want. What is your goal, RK? What do you want out of HEX? What do you want out of your stakes? What is it that you're trying to achieve? If you're trying to make the most maximum amount of money possible, then you in stake today and you restake for 15 years. But that may not be your goal. 15 years is a long time. It's a very personal decision, and it's not something that I can answer for you. Cordo Panda, with the amount of non-staked HEX out there, how much variability in price do you think will occur after 1 penny to 33 cents? The amount of non-staked HEX out there, how much variability in price do you think will occur? I'm not going to talk about that right now. I will talk about that more in the next few months, and I have a lot of theories regarding that. Um, but right now, as far as price predictions and price momentum, I'm just going to say 33 cents by the end of 2020 and 1 penny by the end of July. That's probably about as far as I'm going to take it. I may expand upon that in the next few months. Probably will. Rick in 305 says Portugal would be my next stop if we pump to 3 cents. Portugal sounds cool. Portugal sounds really cool. Portugal and Switzerland, they sound really cool. I just don't know, like, how would you even go about trying to move to a place like that? Like, let's say I'm a native, native to the United States of America, and I have an American passport and all these things. Like, if I wanted to go move to Portugal, for instance, like, how in the world would I do that? Like, man, my mind is not well studied on those kind of things. Like, I understand, programming and electronics and off-grid living. I'm so deep into that stuff that just thinking about that's an entire new world to think about, and I'll probably end up. I don't know. I don't know if that's a big topic that I know very little about. Gunning Gamut says reduce the world population through vaccination. Yeah. I mean, it's already been shown that the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation has sterilized women in Africa. So probably. Check Agenda 21, Agenda 2030. Yep. Got books on it. What kind of lifestyle do you see yourself having in 10 years? Wow, goodness gracious. Lifestyle in 10 years. Gosh, I have no idea. I have no idea. I couldn't even begin to tell you. There's so many. I don't know. Charlie Weston says, in 2.5 years, what is your price prediction in 2.5 years? 2.5 years, that would be June. I don't know. Let me look at my notes. I've got price projections all the way through, I don't know, 2030. I've got price projections through the next 10 years, and I've used them to time my stakes to a degree. Yeah, I've got price projections out for the next 10 years. Let me see. You're looking at June 2022. Astronomical is really the best way to put it. Just astronomical. I mean, yeah, that's all I'm going to say is astronomical. Numbers that y'all would not believe. Yeah, 2.5 years. My prediction is beyond what you would probably find reasonable. Crypto Goose says, I think you should do both, buy HEX, but also buy gold for completely different reasons. Yeah, that's for sure. I think it's nice to have both. They're both amazing assets. I'm not sure what my favorite is. When I first got into HEX, I would have told you gold was my favorite, but maybe that's true now, maybe not. Yes, we talk a lot about where we come and origin countries from L the 1. Yeah, that's really cool. I wish we did that in America. In America, you're not allowed to do that. You know, in America, if especially if you're white and you talk about where you come from, you're a racist. You know, you're supposed to, as a white person, you're not allowed to have a heritage, or you're not allowed to celebrate your culture. If you're Asian, you're allowed to celebrate your culture. If you're African, you're allowed and encouraged to celebrate your culture. If you're white, it's the mainstream media, you're a racist if you do that. But I guess the culture where I'm from is, cowboy boots, and I wear cowboy boots every day. Cowboy boots and farming, and I guess that's the new culture here that we invented in the last couple hundred years. Um, T. Hugh says 22 karat gold jewelry. I would not buy 22 karat gold jewelry. Stick to 24, in my opinion. I would not. 24 karat gold is not that soft. This is a 24 karat gold necklace, and it is not that soft. Like, if it was that soft, I would have destroyed it. It's just not that soft. People overemphasize how soft they believe that gold is because they want to sell you cut metal. It's like, and I do not do drugs at all, and I don't advise anyone do drugs, but it's like a cocaine dealer who's cutting his cocaine with baking soda, and he tells you, yeah, 90% cocaine is a lot better than 100% cocaine. Because I'm gonna get my YouTube banned for saying this probably, but yeah, I shouldn't have said that. That was a bad example. But anyway, it's the same thing with gold. Why would you cut your gold? That doesn't make any sense. It's not actually that soft. Anybody who says that is trying to rip you off. If somebody tells you that 24 karat gold is too soft to use in jewelry, it's because they're trying to rip you off and they're trying to sell you cut metal. Don't believe it. I shouldn't have made that drug thing though. If y'all see my stream go offline, it's because I got banned. Which is cool, because then we can go to D Live and we can play with lemons. I would much rather be throwing lemons right now. That would be so fun right now. And then giving away the treasure box. Man, I need to just go to D Live. But Richard made a really good point last night on his D Live presentation with Hexo. Nobody's using D Live. I mean, if you want the viewers, and if you want to reach a larger audience, you have to use YouTube. You do not have a choice. That's just the name of the game. That is the game, and you don't have a choice. Oh, KNTX says he didn't say to buy U.S. real estate. Smart. Crypto Orange says, hey, good texture. What's going on, Crypto Orange? Good talking to you last night, and nice meeting you. Archie S says it's going to crash the real estate market, GT. You better in country. I don't know what that means. Joey Paletti says, what if the real estate is for living and farming? Yeah, absolutely. I think farmland actually is probably the best real estate you can buy. I think if you want real estate, that's assuming that the powers that be do not steer us towards a totally vegan society. If you have a totally vegan society, then there's a lot of crazy people out there. It would not surprise me if people started trying to pass laws that say killing cows is illegal, because these people are, and I'm just going to say it plainly, their agenda, their anti-human agenda, is satanic in nature. They want humans and animals to be viewed equally. They want humans and animals to be viewed as the same value, as of having the same worth. It isn't. And so these are the type of people that I would not be surprised if laws went out making it illegal to kill cows. And that's the very distant future. I don't know how far out in the future that is. That may be 20 years from now, maybe 10 years, that maybe 50 years. That hopefully it never happens. And it's kind of out there, crazy thinking. Maybe it's way off base. That's possible. But I see a future of nobody living in the rural areas, everybody living in the cities, in large apartment buildings, and all of the food being grown in the equivalent of 18-wheeler trailers stacked on top of each other, full of fluorescent lighting. I could see that future. Possibly even all hydroponic farming. They would grow all of the food in these large cities, in these warehouses, multi-layered warehouses. You would have a plant that has this much room to grow, and then on top of it, there's another layer and another layer of lights. Just purely industrial farming. I could definitely see a future like that, because in that kind of future, um, it's very easy to centralize control of food, and controlling food is one of the most efficient ways to gain power and hold power. So it would be very easy in that type of circumstance for mega corporations to control all of the food supply. Imagine Walmart grows all your own food in warehouses. I could see that happening. And somebody mentioned something about Agenda 21, Agenda 2030. Part of that agenda is to get people to move to the cities. They don't want people living in the rural areas. And I notice I'm losing followers talking this conspiracy stuff, but um, if it's not true, respond below that it's not true. But maybe it's not. I hope it's not, because it's not a great outcome, not a great outlook. Say Thomas says good texture will increase the population. Yeah, absolutely. I think we're gonna I think probably all the hexagons are going to just kind of travel around and increase the world population. I'm pretty sure that that is a very noble goal, a very plausible goal, and it may even be the best goal, just to kind of run around the world and increase the world population. Caribbean, South America, African real estate. African real estate, surely. That's a really interesting idea. I would just be worried about being able to keep that real estate. Let's say you go to Ethiopia and buy, and you go to Addis Ababa and buy, buy a city block. Well, and then in 5 years, the government gets taken over by a new communist regime. Is that still your? What just happened? Someone just Derek Mayer just subscribed. Hello, Derek Mayer. Nice to have you. Um, what if that city block is no longer yours? So you paid all this money for a city block in Addis Ababa, and a new communist regime comes in. I guess that's high risk, high reward. It's like buying HEX. It's high risk, high reward. Buying African real estate, that sounds like really high risk, high reward, for sure. Where am I at? Real estate is only as good as the economy around it. There's a lot of real estate in the middle of Nevada, which is practically worthless. I don't understand buying real estate in Nevada. Like, that stuff is irradiated. I mean, like, the amount of people over there that are getting cancer is very high. I mean, they tested nuclear weapons there. A lot of nuclear weapons. Like, not just one or two. They tested a lot of nuclear weapons over there. And people want to live near that stuff. Like, there's radiation everywhere. That stuff doesn't go away. That's one of the reasons why I've never moved out west, even though I like the idea of it. The idea of the West sounds cool, but there's two big things. Number one, there was an enormous amount of nuclear weapons testing over there that just destroyed the environment, and people are getting cancer. And I mean, you can research this stuff. It's well known that people in those areas have very high rates of cancer. And number two, you got that whole Yellowstone thing over there. I don't know if that's probably a good reason to get out of the United States on its own. Is that Yellowstone thing looks pretty rough if it ever decides to go. That may be like hyper paranoid thinking, though. That Yellowstone disaster, that may not be something that has a real likelihood of occurring. I don't know. I don't think about it very much, honestly. I don't like to think about doomsday scenarios and stuff. Hexabunga. I do gold prospecting in California. The gold has a different type of feeling aura. I believe you. Oh, here we go. Now we're getting good. Crypto Goose. The Anunnaki mined our gold for vastly different reasons, and we're not allowed to know the true intrinsic value of gold. That is a very interesting perspective. And NASA has themselves said that they believe that there is a large body uh, out there that is causing gravitational disturbances in space. Some people say it's the Anunnakian homeland. Some people say it's the planet X, whatever they call it. So I think gold. It's very possible that here's my favorite theory, and again, this is maybe complete fairy tales. It's probably just fairy tales. But you look at humans, and humans are very poorly adapted to this planet. If I go outside right now and stand outside with no clothes on for 3 hours, I'm going to get very seriously sunburned. That is a very poor adaptation to this environment. We do not seem to be very adapted to our environment like other animals are. You take a normal animal and you set him in the sun, he'll be fine. He's not going to get sunburned. He can, his eyes, he doesn't have to squint so hard like we do. His eyes are more adjusted to the sun. There's people going along that same line of thinking. There's people that claim that we were in fact genetically engineered, and this is all ancient alien stuff, that we were genetically engineered by the Anunnaki themselves in order to mine gold out of the ground. Now, does that really make a lot of sense? I mean, if you're smart enough to genetically engineer an organism to mine gold, um, couldn't you just build a machine to do it? Yeah, I don't think that theory has a lot of validity. It sounds kind of crazy, but I mean, it's stuff people talk about. I don't believe it. There are other things that could be plausible, though, like something like the idea that we may have been genetically engineered to provide some type of um, loosh type fuel to an extraterrestrial entity. Um, what am I talking about? Think about, like, you've seen The Matrix, right? When they first freed Neo from that little pink bubble, he was when Neo was first freed, he was in this little pink bubble full of pink goo, and he had all these tubes tied into him and everything. And then when he got released, he fell out of the pink bubble. It's possible that that right now in this reality that we're actually in the pink bubble, and that our loosh or emotional energy is the fuel for some type of entity. Now, is there any way to prove any of that? No. Does it? It's just theories, y'all. I like to talk about theories. Just think about it. It's cool to entertain these things. Um, I don't. It's not necessarily. It's not my religion. It's not something that I believe in necessarily. It's just interesting theories that are out there that may have some type of logical basis. Maybe not. Maybe total garbage. But I think that there are some ancient findings. You watch Ancient Aliens, and they talk about all these ancient artifacts found in ancient Egypt that allude to genetic engineering and all this kind of stuff, combined with we're not very suited to our environment. And, it could be something to it. Could be nothing to it. Yeah, still streaming. Damn, this thing's 2 hours in. Okay. Um, Athelstan says can't abandon his homeland. Yeah, I can understand that. If you're yeah, I can, if your ancestors were the type of people that built Stonehenge and stuff like that, and you don't want to leave it, I can't blame you for that. you know. Archie says cholesterol is good for the brain. Yes, it is. It is 20% of all of the cholesterol in the body is in the brain. It makes you think why the vegans don't want you eating cholesterol and why their children have stunted IQs. Maybe they don't want you to be intelligent. It's just a possibility. Diego says, come to Portugal, my hexy friends. Man, I don't know. That may be cool. That may be a good idea. That may be something people should consider. I just don't know how to do it. How do you do it? I don't know. Is there like a website that says step by step, this is how you move to Portugal? How does that work? I don't know. Saitama says aeroponics is growing plants without soil. Uses 98% less water than hydroponics. Yeah, okay, I could see something like that. I could see a massive influx of industry in doing aeroponics. Yeah, so that they have full control over the food supply. I could see that. Portugal is a beautiful country, beautiful people, says Crypto Orange. Archie says, Tiago, may I join you in Porto, Portugal? Tiago says, I am in Leiria. Interesting. Into the Fire says, see if you are able to get an Italian passport. Whoa, really? Oh, he's talking to me. See if you were able to get an Italian passport. That would be your key into getting into the European Union and Portugal. Wow. Yo, I mean, like, I would actually rather just go to Italy and stay there, but the taxes there are horrifying from what I understand. Malta has, from what I understand, very good tax laws, and they're just outside of Sicily, which is I'm actually Sicilian, part Sicilian, and Malta is just a hop and a skip away from Sicily. So that I don't know. Archie says Diego, he's gonna read up on Portugal a bit. He loves traveling, and he's gonna have to wait with COVID-19. Archie says he's half Irish. Diego says you should use DLive and YouTube at the same time. Yeah, that's a really good idea, actually. Athelstan says Europeans need to unite. No more brother wars. Yeah, I'll tell you what, Europeans have killed more Europeans than just about anything. We've killed more Europeans. It's unbelievable how much Europeans kill each other. Absolutely unbelievable. And Richard made a comment the other day. It says, "Don't deny your biology. You're not going to have black guys winning world chess tournaments, and you're not going to have white guys winning the 100-meter dash." And that's 100% true. And when you take these people that are winning the chess tournaments and you convince them to kill each other, they're gonna do a really good job at it. That's kind of the downside of white people, is they've figured out how to kill each other extremely efficiently. They're not. Other parts of the world are not as efficient at it. Yeah, white people need to quit killing each other. Besides HEX, are there any projects, not necessarily crypto related, that you are interested in? Charlie Weston. Projects. I guess I don't know what you mean by projects. Well, I'll tell you one computing project that I'm very interested in. I'm interested in this computing platform called the Talos, Talos. They are creating an actual open source hardware computing platform. So I don't know if y'all are familiar, but Intel processors have backdoors in them. And so what Talos has done, or what this Talos computer, I can't remember if the company is named Talos or if that's the name of the computer, but what Talos has done is they have created a fully open hardware platform that does not have backdoors in it. So it's going to be a lot safer for people to use. Like if you wanted a crypto system, it would probably be safer to do it on a Talos system than it would be to do it on an Intel-based Windows machine, just because it's a, I mean, maybe, maybe not. There may not be as many people testing Talos also. They may not have as many security engineers that are making sure that they didn't. Backdoors are only dangerous if somebody exploits them. What's more dangerous than a backdoor? An actual hardware bug that somebody didn't know existed. And that could be more likely in Talos because they may have a smaller engineering team. The chance of Intel having a hardware bug that can be exploitable by an attacker, potentially a 0-day, is probably less. So, I mean, it could go both ways. But I think that open hardware computing platforms should really be a bigger deal. I don't like these closed hardware Intel chips and whatever I'm running an ARM64 on this phone. I don't like this. Into the Fire says he has Australian and Polish passports. He's been to Portugal a few times. Beautiful country, very laid back. Quality of food excellent. People are great too. That's what matters. Archie says he's not against veganism in principle. I am. I'm against veganism because it's health destroying. I'm against people destroying their health. Archie says grow hemp, best for food, fuel, clothing. Yeah, it makes pretty good clothing, doesn't it? Hylian Trader. Yeah. Yep. KNTX says he has 3 kids and 4th on the way. He is doing his part in Operation Repopulation. Brian Kelly had a bacon cheeseburger with tomato and avocado. It was phenomenal. Okay, Yikes says, I saw your point about liquidity not growing. Let me scroll down and make sure there's nothing pressing. Man, I got a lot of comments. Yikes says, I saw your point about liquidity not growing during the predicted massive HEX dump. Wait, what? Yeah, I mean, I'm not exactly sure what you're saying. Yikes. I don't 100% remember exactly what comment you're referring to. Timothy Benjamin says, good afternoon. Hello, Timothy. How are you doing? KNTX says you're thinking too small. With the kind of money that HEX will bring to the world, Hexicans will be buying African nations. Man, maybe we should be thinking bigger then. Maybe we should be thinking of buying entire nations and, I don't know, man, starting your own military, I guess. I should be more anonymous says, I knew when I started seeing vegan ads on public transport, I knew it was a scam. Yeah, whenever you see really important organizations and like the World Health Organization all of a sudden says meat causes cancer, you know it's a scam. Satima says if you go up to Alaska to mine gold, you will get wrecked. Interesting. Athelstan says we are so well adapted that we dominated the planet. Yeah, I mean he's right. You know, maybe we're so smart that our bodies don't have to adapt anymore. You know, we're smart enough to make clothes. Maybe we've been smart enough to make clothes for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of years. So we don't have to adapt. You know, that's why, you know, vegans will make the argument that we don't have teeth like a lion. And yeah, we don't. Why? Because we're smart enough to make tools. We're smart enough to build a knife. I mean, there's no reason to put in the biological energy into evolving sharp teeth if you have sharp tools. Like if you can make a sharp tool, you don't need to evolve teeth. Yeah, KNTX quoting something here. There were giants in the earth in those days. Yep. I can't remember. Where is that quote from, KNTX? Is that straight from the Bible or not? Gunning Gummit says humans were used as batteries for the AI in the Matrix. Yep. Pyramids are everywhere, not just Egypt, says Archie. Absolutely. Oh, yeah. I should be more anonymous, says Nibiru. That is the other name of Planet X. Walking Circle says, why Evian don't you have a well? I love the well water where I live. I have several wells. I'm not far along enough in their development that I want to drink out of them, though. Archie says, Portugal good for crypto. Yep, I believe it. Diego says, we don't pay taxes for crypto earnings. Very, very enticing. And it seems is it cheaper to live in Portugal than it is in Switzerland? Like Switzerland seems probably really uppity and probably a lot harder to get into than Portugal. Walking Circle says cholesterol is important enough that our bodies make it. Yeah, exactly. You know, if it was toxic like the vegans claim, why are our bodies producing it? Gunning Gummit says you look like a Viking. Yeah, I think my brother's 23 and me said he was Viking. That he was part Viking. So, yeah, probably part Viking, I guess. I should be more anonymous. GT is a Sicilian mafioso. Yeah. Yeah, my grandfather, he was pure Sicilian, and his favorite movie was The Godfather, believe it or not. Archie says, let's have the land of Hex, our own nation. Yeah, for sure. Dithy says, hi from David in Dublin. He dumped his EOS position for Hex in January. Glad he did. EOS is a great project. The price has been static for years. Yeah, yikes. That makes sense. So yikes says why liquidity will not be added during the next bull run point. He's saying that he wants liquidity added, just at what rate is the question. Yeah, that's exactly the case. You want to add liquidity at the top. So if you think that HEX is going to pump and then reach a certain point and then start coming back down, you want to be the person. It's a double benefit to the community. It's a benefit. Not only does it benefit you, but it benefits everybody. Because let's say that HEX pumps to 33 cents, and there's no liquidity between 1 penny and 33 cents. I mean, it's just blazing through on 200,000 Ethereum tokens, cause it to pump to 33 cents. Now, as soon as it gets to 33 cents, a smart thing to do, if you want to help the community, but you don't want to outright sell all your HEX, is to add liquidity to the pool, to the liquidity pool, because people are going to be selling into your liquidity. And you will also be supporting the price. So if say it gets to 33 cents and you add all your liquidity into the liquidity pool, and say you add a massive amount of liquidity, let's say you're a turbo whale or a giga whale, well, all of a sudden, it's harder to dump the price, number one, and number two, when the price does dump, you're actually getting out. You're being sold into. Now the downside is you're not going to get you're missing out on stakes, which is where the real money is at in HEX. I think if you're trading and playing with liquidity pools, every time you do that, you're missing out on stakes. Crypto Butler, have you read any Graham Hancock books? I have several up there on my shelf. If so, which one is your favorite? I don't even remember. They're so big that I don't think I've ever read one cover to cover. I've just kind of gone through bits and pieces of them because they're just so massive. So I guess I don't have a favorite. Archie says Portugal is cheaper than Switzerland. Yeah, I guess Portugal would probably be better than for that reason. I don't know. Maybe I don't know which country has the better people. I don't know. Does Portugal have better people or Switzerland? I don't know. Yikes says he's thinking early adopters with lots of HEX selling at the 33 levels will cause massive drops since there will be so little HEX in the liquidity pool. Yeah, that could happen. It depends on how many of them are staked. And if the origin address starts airdropping HEX to everybody that's staked, maybe they won't sell. Maybe they'll be incentivized to stake. It will be like a big payday on top of a big payday. Big payday, there doesn't have to be one big payday. If the origin address decides it can create another big payday out of the blue, they can just start airdropping people. Into the Fire says Portugal is definitely way cheaper than Switzerland. It sounds like a better country. And the question is it cheaper? Does it sacrifice security? Is there a really high crime rate? I don't think there's a lot of crime there, though. Walking Circles says teeth are sharp enough to eat raw meat. I'm not a fan of raw meat. I think humans have been intelligent enough to cook their food for a really long time, and I don't buy the arguments that say that people should eat raw meat. I don't get it. I Should Be More Anonymous says they've been bashing meat in the media for many years. Barbecue causing cancer. Red meat will kill you. The same old garbage. Yes, they've been saying a lot of stuff. Ivan says the Swiss have much better salaries. Tiago says really low crime. Archie says really low crime. Okay, I'm caught up. Yikes says I'm excited to see what happens if Uniswap continues to get traction in crypto. If Uniswap gets huge, watch out. It seems like it will get that way. The only reason that Coinbase itself is bigger than Uniswap is because of onboarding. Uniswap itself doesn't have an onboarding system from cash into crypto. It's just a crypto to crypto system. But most people don't use Binance for onboarding. They use it just for trading. But Uniswap isn't good for traders. It's not lightning fast. Uniswap is not lightning fast. It takes time. It can be attacked. You can flood the system with orders and keep trades from getting in. You can front run people. There's a lot of reasons why Uniswap does not make a really good trading platform. There's a lot of reasons that it makes it the best trading platform in the world. It just depends on what your goal is. What your goal is. Swiss is very nice, however, a lot more effort, and it's a lot more expensive. If it's a lot more effort, that's really what I care about. Like, what is the least effort place to go? Like, what is the least, what is the place that is not, I really just don't like islands that much, except Sicily. Like, Puerto Rico being way, way off in the middle of nowhere like that, I don't like that. I don't like that Puerto Rico is just way off in the middle of nowhere. I mean, if you look at it on a map, like, it's far away, and it's a tiny little island. I just don't like that. Same thing about Malta. Malta is this microscopic little island off the coast of Sicily. Sicily is okay because it's so close to the mainland of Italy that it's not really, it's not, it doesn't, probably doesn't have as much of an islandy kind of feel. But I guess it would be best to find the place that had the best tax benefits that isn't a freaking island. I just don't like islands. I don't know, is that weird? Does anybody else not like islands? Any thoughts? Archie says, any thoughts on alternative decentralized exchanges? What if Uniswap disappears? Uniswap can't disappear. It's an immutable smart contract. It's not going anywhere. That's why they haven't shut down Uniswap v1, is because they can't. Once it's up, it's up. It's an immutable smart contract. Diethy says, visits Portugal twice a year. Crime level is low. They legalized drugs, and that had a massive effect. Smart. The Algarve Atlantic coast is amazing. Big surf, warm, and the fish is very good. Any ideas on why the MetaMask seed import into the Nano has the same issues relating to derivation paths? Because the Ledger software kind of sucks. Like, I remember recently I was trying to move Zcash, and I had to manually extract the key out of my Ledger Nano in order to move my Zcash because the Zcash address within Ledger Live would not populate with coins. Like, it actually had coins, but Ledger Live couldn't see it. I mean, that software is not that great. It's getting better. It gets better all the time. So as far as with your ETH issue, I don't know the answer to that. Gunning Gamut says, is 0.004% shares of the total in effective ownership? It's pretty good. That's probably what a shark. No, that's not a shark. That's below. That's below a dolphin. What's below a dolphin? A squid? Yeah, I think that's a squid. Yeah, I mean, 0.004% of the shares, where this thing's going, you're going to be fine. I would, if you can get more, but you're probably going to be good. Portuguese authorities have stated that cryptocurrency payments are free of VAT, and crypto mining and trading earnings are not subject to income tax, making Portugal an ideal country for crypto. Man, shill it. Shill the Portuguese. Ivan says Croatia is great for you. Yeah, I think Croatia has terrible taxes, though. I don't, it's not a good idea for the tax, Alright, guys. We've been in this thing. I'm getting tired. We've been in this thing for 2 hours and 30 minutes. I did not expect to do this that long. I'm probably going to go ahead and wrap this thing up. I appreciate y'all joining. It's been a lot of fun. And I'll talk to y'all soon.